Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're going to take a really personal, philosophical question and see how it's playing out on a massive global scale. We're talking about wealth, but not just the money kind. It's about two worlds colliding: your own search for a meaningful life and the financial world's challenge of managing trillions of dollars. So let's dive right in with a question I think we've all asked ourselves. The Orient AI blog put it really well. What do you focus on first? Do you go out and earn the money, build that financial security, or do you broaden your horizons, chase experiences, and build up what you could call your spiritual wealth? I mean, that's a huge choice, right? It pretty much defines how you build your life. And what is spiritual wealth, exactly? Well, according to the Aurier blog, it's not just about knowing a bunch of stuff or traveling the world. It's much deeper. It's about building your own internal compass. A way to judge your own value that has nothing to do with your paycheck, your job title, or what anyone else thinks of you. It's that solid core inside that keeps you steady. And here's the thing, these two kinds of wealth, they aren't always connected. I mean, think about it. History's full of people like the ancient thinkers Diogenes or Tao Yuan Ming who had next to nothing materially but were incredibly rich in spirit. It's a great reminder that the link between what we have and who we are, well, it's not simple at all. Okay, so keep that personal balancing act in your head, because now we're going to zoom out, like way out. We're shifting gears from you and me, from this personal, philosophical question, to the world of global finance, where the numbers are so big, they're hard to even imagine. Yeah, look at that number, $1.38 trillion. That's how much money is managed by just one firm, PGIM. They're the investment arm of Prudential. This is what pure, concentrated material wealth looks like. It's a world where everything is quantified, tracked, and managed on an epic scale. And that number isn't just sitting in a vault somewhere. It's actively managed by a global machine. We're talking over 1,400 investment pros in offices all over the world. Their one and only job? To make that pile of material wealth bigger and safer for their clients. Clients that are huge, like entire countries or the pension funds for millions of people. Okay, so this is where our two worlds, the personal and the global, start to collide. I mean, if it's tough for us to figure out what value really means in our own lives, just imagine trying to do that when you're in charge of $1 trillion. You think it's just about the numbers, right? Just make more money. But what's fascinating is that they are starting to ask the exact same kind of question we are. How do you measure what matters, beyond just the dollars and cents? And the financial world's answer, or at least its best attempt so far, can be boiled down to three little letters: E, S, and G. So what is ESG? The key thing to get, according to PGIM, is that it's a tool. It's not about throwing out the old financial playbook. Not at all. It's more like adding a new set of glasses. It's a lens that helps investors see hidden risks. Stuff like climate change hurting a business or bad press from labor issues. And it also helps them spot new opportunities that you'd totally miss if you were just looking at a spreadsheet. Right. And when you're dealing with that much money, you can't just have a vague, let's do good philosophy. It has to be a rock-solid system. So let's take a look at how a firm like PGM actually puts this into practice. They've broken it down into a clear two-pillar approach. And this is really interesting because the two pillars have totally different jobs. Pillar one is what they call ESG integration. Think of this as the head. It's all about using ESG to be a smarter investor, to avoid risks and pounce on opportunities. But pillar two, ESG solutions, that's the heart. This is for clients who come in and say, look, I want my money to actually reflect my values. It's driven by a mission, not just the math. And that first pillar, the head part, it is huge. I mean, look at that. PGIM uses this kind of ESG analysis on 89% of all the money they manage. So for almost 9 out of every $10 that flows through their system, they're looking through that extra lens. That's not a niche thing. That's core to their business. Okay, so that's the risk management side of things. But what about pillar two, the heart stuff? What happens when a client walks in and says, great, but I want to go further. I want my money to actively avoid certain industries, or I want my money to actively support others. This, my friends, is where the numbers tell a really fascinating story. Just look at this chart. The number one, by a long shot, is exclusions. This is the don't buy list. Clients are putting almost $500 billion into strategies that just say, hey, stay away from things like tobacco or certain weapons. It's a strategy of avoidance. Now, compare that to the others. Positive alignment, that's proactively seeking out good companies, gets less than $30 billion. And impact investing, where you're trying to create a specific, measurable good in the world, that's barely over $1 billion. It's a huge difference. Most of the values money is about avoiding the bad, not chasing the good. And what does that tell us? It shows that even when people want to invest with their values, it's not simple. It's a journey. The first and easiest step, the one almost everyone takes, is just to draw a line and say no to certain things. To actually go out and find the good stuff, that's a much bigger commitment. And it perfectly shows that tension we've been talking about, that balancing act between financial goals and, well, all the other kinds of value. Which, brings us right back to where we started this whole conversation. That Ori blog called it a balance artistry, and I just love that phrase. It's perfect. Because the massive challenge facing a trillion-dollar firm is, at its core, the exact same challenge you and I face every day. How in the world do you balance all the different things you care about? When you strip it all down, it's the same puzzle. It's just played on different sized boards. The answer isn't choosing material wealth over spiritual wealth. It's not choosing financial returns over making an impact. The real game, for us as people and for the entire global system, is to figure out how to make them work together. How to find that sweet spot, that dynamic balance where they both grow at the same time. So that's what I want to leave you with. If a firm managing over $1 trillion with some of the smartest minds in finance is still figuring out how to define value, what does that tell you? It tells me that this whole quest for balance is maybe one of the most important things we can be doing right now. And it all starts with the very same question. Whether you have $1 trillion or 10, how will you define yours?